Hello, all. I am going to play us some more Severe Anon music to intro. This is a culture, but don't you forget it. I rip the Republican Party ticket. I rip the microphone, so I spit it. Forgot the country, dig it. Severe Anon. This is a culture, but don't you forget it. No point in denying it, so admit it. James and the Jedi, and knowing I'm with it. This is a culture, but don't you forget it. And I won't back down, cause I'm in it to win it. Pushing the limits, and like us to finish. We'll put it in Jason. Okay, are y'all, it's low and choppy. Okay, give me a minute. I kind of messed up and not shutting down 15 different, 15 would be easy. I usually have like 30 some odd windows open. So I forgot to shut stuff down. So let me shut stuff down and see if that is better. I really want, last time I had trouble with this song too. So I'm really wanting to play this song because it's such a good song, but we shall see. Well, let me try to fix my issues. 6-string. How are you guys doing? I swear I just have. I swear I just. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Shh. Sorry. I don't want to listen to myself. I just want to be able to see the chat. All right. I'm still shutting down stuff. That's literally how much junk I always have up. It's kind of stupid. Had 2 PowerPoint presentations open. I had like 8 Word documents open. I had OneNote open. I had my Outlook open. I have both Chrome and Internet Explorer open. I had Excel open. Oh shoot, I think I just opened Publisher on accident. Oh yeah, you're going shopping? What are you going shopping for? Okay, I'll stop because that would just have me putting pressure on you. What are you going shopping for? Yeah, James, we need to pray for good weather and consistent work. Sorry. Seriously, this is ridiculous how, I mean, I obviously just have way too much open. If it takes me this long to close it. Okay. Hey, KK. Well, hello, Jeff B. All right, 6 string. Errands for the granny up the street. Is that your granny, or is it just in general a granny that's up the street? Okay, and then I'm gonna try this song again. I'll shut down a little bit more actually, and then I'll try it again, and you guys tell me if it's working, because I really want you guys to hear this. Okay, I think I've got as much shut down as I possibly can, so let's do this again.
Jesus was a Gentile. This is a culture, why don't you forget it? I rep the Republican Party ticket. I rip the microphone so hard I split it. For God and country, you dig it. Severe enough.
This is the culture, why don't you forget it? No point in denying it, so admit it. There's an agenda and no one out with it. Red pill music.
This is the culture, why don't you forget it? And I won't back down cause I'm in it to win it. Pushing the limits till I cross the finish. Won't quit it, no Jason, let's get it. They wanna sound like a tree down. They wanna tell my people down. They want the man standing with a hand down. Well, I say no. They want to get for all. Well, I say the whole thing will fall. I go Donald J. Trump cause it's easy to see that we do not want to be Venezuela. 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 Venezuela.
Just to be turn socialism now. What do you see? The promise to people everything for free, but nothing get you, nothing, everything gotta be realized. It's all a deception of rise. A master plan that the deep state provides. Strong one, so they had to improvise. Here convey you'll see fully weaponized. Brainwash the wheels and effects in their minds, but they can't produce or they conceptualize. Socialism is communism in disguise. Communism is globalism if you let it ride. Middle finger high and you know that it fine. I'm willing to die if my country survives. If socialism wins, you can kiss it all goodbye. I'll lay it all on the line and support for the vibe.
Love to socialism. A little brother to communism. We say no to the deep state and globalism. So we support Trump and say 45 go get 'em. They wanna sound like a country, yeah. They wanna tell my people down. They want the man down, but I say no. They want one healthcare for all, but I say the whole thing will fall. I vote Donald Trump cause it's easy to see that we do not want to be Venezuela. 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 Yeah. Venezuela. Yeah, no. Thank God I don't gotta eat dogs. I'm living in a country that has got a lot of jobs. Thank you, Donald Trump. Your sacrifice is big. Destroying deep state while America is safe. And thank you, QAnon, for exposing all the evil. Military heroes bringing power back to people. Never would have thought that I'd get to see the day where the world wakes up to the enemy at bay. Now there's nothing I can say. I'm just so damn grateful. Justice being served in the manner of a plateful. Haters never learn because their brains are unstable. Still being burned by a socialist table. But really, that's okay. Appreciate minds with the truth like Play-Doh. In due time, they will realize the betrayal. Blood will shine, so we gotta stay faithful. We stand for
Liberty.
We stand for
Jesus.
We stand for
Justice.
We stand for
Freedom.
for
Children.
We fight for
Peace.
We fight for
Prosperity.
You'll see me in the ballot box. They wanna sound like country now. They wanna tell my people they will fall. I vote Donald J. Trump cause it's easy to see that we do not want to be Venezuela. 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 Venezuela.
Okay, so. Oh, no, stop. There we go. Okay, so that is music from Severe Anon. Severe is just totally cool. He's given me permission to play his music, so forget that copyright stuff you saw at the end. I have his permission. But he is just a really cool patriot who, you know, he's making music for the patriot movement. So that's really cool. Okay, I don't know if I'm a little distracted by the ghost-like look of myself. It's like too much light or something. So I don't know if you guys are getting that as well, but whew. I am not the undead now. So anyway, joining him on that song, Venezuela, was Jason. Jason was a Gentile and educating liberals or educating for liberals. I think he's educating for liberals on Twitter, but his name's Dylan. Really cool. Great. Severe has a ton of great music on his site. Yeah, Six String is saying he has good music. So feel free to visit. He's got great, Six String. He's got great music, and I played a different one in the opening of last time I was live, although it's been quite a while, I know. So I think I said hello to everybody. If I haven't, I apologize, and I'll catch up as y'all chat. But it has been a little while. I'm sorry. I am just between finishing up the holiday season, getting my parents moved out of the state. I mean, not that I did a whole lot, just, spending time with them and stuff like that. And I forgot to lock that door. So hopefully nobody pops in. I think I forgot. Yeah, hopefully nobody pops in because I don't want my family on camera. Yes, KK, it's good to be here, and it's good to have you here. Thank you. I know you're at work and just popping in as you can, so I appreciate it. There's been so much that I've wanted to talk about over the last month, but again, just kind of the transition back to the school year. I wasn't ready for that yet. Vision and Force the Q, James is saying, are really good songs that Sphere has as well. Yeah, I think it wasn't Vision. It was Six String. Actually, I've sent both my sister about 4 years ago. So, hello, Linda Horner. Nice to see you. It wasn't really something I was going for, Six String. It just kind of happened. So, I think part of it is weather. So are you Michigan, Six String? I can't remember. Michigan or Ohio. I don't know. We have a lot of people from that area, but weather was part of it. That was why my sister moved down, part of the reason. And family. My grandparents are not well, not doing great. They're in their 90s, and so my parents decided to move down and help in the caring process for them. So if you want to pull off any of that, then there you go. Oh, hey, Philip Turner. Thank you for stopping in your busy day. I appreciate it. Okay, so one of the things that oh no, James, I played, hang on, I'll tell you in a second, because it'll just drive me crazy until I figure it out. And so I might as well just take the time to look, or else it'll just distract me. Prolific Poetry is the one I played last time. And I like that one too. And I said this before, his music isn't my norm. It's not what I generally shift to, but he's got great music. So what can I say? Ohio. Okay, sixth string. I was in there. That was my second guess. So yeah, I mean, family moved to Texas, so weather-wise, it's a little bit better than up here. Okay. So a couple of things, and I might talk about this a little bit later. I know it's such old news, but the speech that President Trump gave after the everything with Iran, with the hit on Soleimani and the retaliation, whatever else. I was so impressed by that speech. He was very intentional with his words. Not that he isn't always when he gives official speeches. I mean, maybe Twitter. I think he's actually intentional on Twitter too. But he was very intentional. Came out strong. I wasn't going to talk about this, and I know it's old news, so I'm sorry, but man, that was one of those really presidential moments, right? He came out strong to begin with. First line was something like, we cannot allow Iran to have nuclear weapons. Boom. And then he softened up a little bit, but that was the first line out. It was, here it is. Here's the line. We're not doing this. And then he masterfully, even though he came out so strong like that, as he went through the speech, he masterfully worked his way into like lifting Iran up and trying to, what do you call it? Take link arms with Iran to say, hey, you can be great. We can be great. Let's do this thing. It was beautiful and masterful. If you did not watch it, or if maybe you were distracted and didn't get a full picture of it, I would highly suggest going back. And if we have time, maybe we'll go back to that one. But it was, I know it's old news, so I won't spend too long on it right now. But I was just so impressed. So, okay. I have talked before. I think I've talked before about Hillsdale College. Yes, sixth string, it really was. Yeah, I mean, Philip Turner, I think they're there's definitely things that aloha, Robert Nozawa. Good to have you here. There are definitely things that are wrong, and and what Trump has said since that speech has really pointed out, a lot of what he's doing is speaking to the Iranian people, right? And He's really great informer. Hey, and he's really, when he speaks to the leadership, there's a little bit of a not, excuse me, admonishment in there. In, you know, you need to treat your people better. You need to treat them right. You need to let them speak. You know, don't kill your people. So he's definitely had that, but to be able to have a speech where you are able to cover from strength and from a strength and then a willingness for unity. Drawing that line, saying they cannot have nuclear weapons, and that won't be acceptable. I don't know. He was just masterful in the way that he flowed that speech, and in the message that he was able to get across. So, okay, so, and again, we can talk about that again later. I know. Okay, so Hillsdale College puts out a free publication. Is it monthly? I think it's monthly. It's this right here. So depending on the pronunciation that you use, it's either imprimis or imprimis. I use a Latin pronunciation that's a classical, which would be imprimis. So, you know, whatever, it's not a big deal. But it's free. You can go on their website and sign up for it, and they will send you the hard copy. They have I have a couple here, I have a couple here to give some you're not helping me, sixth string. Snot. That was good though. Oh my goodness. All right. That tickled me. I'm sorry. That was good. Okay, so I'm sorry. That was really funny. That just totally took me off my game for a second. Okay, so I'll just kind of read the titles of these. I'm going to call them articles, but generally they come from speeches that have been given at the college by different people that they've invited. And so you have an idea of kind of what they offer or what they talk about. Excuse me. Excuse me. Yes, Great Informer. I've talked about those before. And those are free as well. You can sign up for educational. They have series of videos that their professors put on. And like there's a Constitution 101 series. So you can kind of take a class, and they just email you. I think it's more than once a week. They email you the next video in the series. They have videos on biblical stuff too. So, and it's again based educationally. So it's let's dig into, you know, the time, the place, the whatever that went into what was happening there. And that's the thing is, you know, whether you're looking at biblical principles, biblical events, or historical, you know, political or whatever, understanding what was going on at the same time, or understanding the culture, understanding what certain words mean or meant at the time is important. So anyway, to give you some ideas, I really had a hard time deciding which article or speech I wanted to cover because they are really good. So from the December, is this one? Hold on a second, sorry. Okay, from the December, Larry P., and I think his name is Arnn, Arnn. He is the president of Hillsdale College, and so there are a decent amount of articles or speeches that come from him as well. But he had one in December called 4 Pillars, Educating for America. So that was a good one. It's longer than the one I'm going to do, but really good. And then in the November one, which is the one I'm going to be reading from, there are 2. One is a speech that was given by Clarence Thomas. So again, he was invited to speak at the school for their 175th anniversary and the dedication of their Christ Chapel. And so he was there and he gave a speech called Faith and Reason Are Mutually Reinforcing. So very, very interesting topic, and one that in a lot of debates, people like to separate faith and reason. Like, if you are a person of faith, then you don't believe in science. If you're a person of faith, then you don't believe in reason or logic. And that's just really not the case. That's really not true. So interesting topic for Mr. Thomas to speak on. The one that I'm going to be doing today, that I'm going to be sharing with you and we'll be talking about, is oh, KK. All right, love you. Have a good rest of your workday. KK works hard, so we'll hope that her day goes quickly and well. Yeah, actually, I have Great Informer. I'd love to do that, and I'd love to have him here. Tony Patriot is amazing and a beautiful person. He cares about people just in general, and he's always helpful. So, okay, so the one I want to share with you today is American Citizenship is Eroding by Victor Davis Hanson, who is a distinguished fellow in history at Hillsdale College. So I'm not really great at just reading through without sharing my thoughts. So I will probably get myself distracted and stop every little bit and share my thoughts. But I would love to have you guys share your thoughts as well. And before I get started, let me take a quick drink. Hang on. Try not to show you what I'll show you what I'm drinking from. It's just kind of ridiculous. It's this massive 128-ounce bottle. So I'll try to be civilized while I'm on with you guys and drink from a straw versus tipping up the whole thing like I would normally. Oh, that's cool. That's cool, Philip. I'd love to have my sister that close. I have literally the best sister in the entire world. I mean, I'm sorry for those of you who have sisters. I'm really sorry for me because I'm not the best sister in the whole world. She really is. So I would love to have her live that close to me. I know, it's ridiculous. Whoops. But it keeps me on track. Drinking what I need to drink. My class kids made fun of me the other day because they they were laughing about if it were alcohol, and we were laughing at just the sheer volume of it. By lunch, I would be on my face. So anyway, the conversations I have with my class kids. Okay, so American citizenship is eroding. Today, many condemn the idea of nationalism by connecting it to race hatred, for example, white nationalism. But historically, the modern nation state has proven uniquely suitable to preserving individual rights. So historically, the modern nation state has proven uniquely suitable to preserving individual rights. The American nation, in particular, was successful in uniting individuals of different races, ethnic backgrounds, and creeds into one people based on shared principles, a unique physical space, and a common national story. Our nation is the best example in human history of positive nationalism. So, just right there, hit the nail on the head, because we've talked about this before. We are so divided now. And Success Kid. Hello, Success Kid. Love you. Thank you for being here. Keep chatting. And no, I probably couldn't say Success Kid 10 times in a row. Okay, so really a true point, right? And I won't talk too much about that because he is going to dig more into that. The key to this benign nationalism is American citizenship, based on an understanding of American exceptionalism and formed by the American melting pot. But today, our citizenship is eroding, and along with it, American nationalism, in the positive sense, is disappearing. American citizenship is eroding in 3 ways. Okay, so love his intro. He hits the nail on the head. This is what was. We were a melting pot. When I was a kid, we were still saying melting pot. But now, well, I don't even know now. I know that it started to change to where we're not a melting pot anymore. We are like a salad bowl, you know? And so, yeah, we're all together, but all individual. And that became the focus, is the individualism of our different, peoples. All the foreign nationals they're deliberately importing. Yeah, and he will talk about that as well. Hang on just a second. I was going to do something that I forgot. Well, I don't know. I'll let it go. All right. So American citizenship is eroding in 3 ways. First, we are blurring the line between mere residents and citizens. We have between 45 to 50 million non-native born residents in the US today, the largest absolute number we've ever had. There's no legal problem with the 30 million of them who have green cards or have acquired citizenship, although even 30 million is a challenge for the American melting pot to assimilate and integrate. And that's important. 6-string. Yes, you just said. Oh, hey, Wookiee supremacy. 6-string just hit the nail on the head, right? They don't want to assimilate. And really, they're being encouraged not to assimilate. And Wookiee has a good point. Globalization is an evil concept, right? Those who are globalist, they are encouraging people to not assimilate, right? To not, and it comes across in a pride for, where you come from, a pride for your culture, a pride for X, Y, and Z, right? But what it doesn't do is it doesn't highlight a pride for what you've chosen. If you've chosen the US, if you've chosen to come here, then there should be a pride there. There should be a pride in being an American. And that's what we are, that's what so many are lacking. And even within our own country, right? And I think that this, really is developed in the education system, right? That um, even the pride for those born here, a pride in America. Um, how offended have some been at Trump's idea of America first, right? What do you mean America first? That's so horrible, right? Um, but the thing is Germany should be first for Germans. People who live in Germany, Germany should be first. Mexico should be first for those who live in Mexico. But for us, we need to be first. We need to be our first priority. It goes back to that, that simple idea of like when you're on an airplane and, they tell you um, if you lose air, cabin pressure, the mask would drop down from the ceiling. Make sure that you equip yourself first, right? Make sure that you put the mask on first and then help the child or the person next to you or the elderly or whatever. But you can't help them if you haven't taken care of your immediate needs as well. So that's why America should be first for us. That's why for each country, their own country should be first. Wookie is saying, I am white, I am a nationalist. The combination of the two, oops, it jumped, is not a racist ideal. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I was thinking of through this as well. I don't know. I don't take pride in the fact that I'm white. You know what? So what? This is the skin color that God gave me, but God gave, um, a black person their skin color. God gave a Mexican their skin color. Those are all God-given attributes. So, who cares, right? Not who cares in the sense of, yes, amen, thank you, God, for what you have given us, right? But it doesn't change. It doesn't make my skin color better or whatever. But it also doesn't mean that we should be um, upset or um, ashamed of our skin color either, which is what's happening on the other side, right? And we can talk about that, right? White males, you get it a lot, right? You should be ashamed. You should be, um, ashamed of what God has given you. So no, we shouldn't be. Plain and simple. Robert, I'm playing with my hair just for you. Okay, actually, no, it was making me feel like I was being choked, so I had to change it. History B, hello. I'm glad you did not miss much either. We are talking about American citizenship is eroding. We're reading from this imprimis, which is Hillsdale College. If you don't get their free, I'm sure History B, you probably already know about this, and I'm sure you would love it if you get it, or if you see it, sign up for them. But they're free. You just have to go to their website and sign up for it. Okay, before I keep reading, I will catch up. Yeah, James, you can't help. If you can't help yourself, you can't help others. Too many brainwash and brain dead liberals. And that's the thing. We have all experienced the brainwashing, and some of us are not as brainwashed, but still. Patriots, we got a celebrity in the chat. Yes. The DMB. Okay, so DM Damad and History Bee. And on tonight, it's Saturday. So this evening they have a show. What time is it, History Bee? I want to say that it's like 7 o'clock my time, Pacific time, but no, 6. I think it's 6 o'clock my time. Oh, okay. So it's actually from Hillsdale College, and it's called Imprimis, and you can sign up on their website. They also have great. I already told everybody this, but I'm sure you would really enjoy them. They have great free educational series. So like they have a Constitution 101 series where they send the videos to your email box. I think it's a couple times a week. I don't remember, but anyway, check them out. You would, I think you would really appreciate them. Robert, I'm proud to be an American, even if I was indoctrinated. Yes. Patriots. Oh yeah. Okay. I read that one. History Bee. Robert Nozawa. And let me just encourage you guys to look up everybody who's here in the chat. Go and visit their sites, see if they are content creators, because we have several on here, and a wide variety. Okay. Wookie, thank you. Robert Nozawa is always giving me a hard time, so I thought I would just mess with him. I have plans for your birthday, Robert. I'm not going to tell you what they are. Oh, Robert's hung out on the DM history. I don't remember what you guys call it. I'm so sorry. It's I don't know where the girls hang out though. That's what I call it. 9 p.m. Okay, so it is 9 p.m. Eastern, so 6 p.m. my time. Okay, I thought that was right. Oh, Linda Horner. Have a good day. Okay, y'all are just chatting and I'm not keeping up. I'm so sorry. Wookie says he's a content creative garbage. Excuse me. Not to be hateful, but it's like locusts swarming and devouring. Oh, and I missed Philip Turner. If they want better, let them have their own Civil Wars. Get in their line. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing is make the change. Hey, Benny. You are welcome, History Bee. Okay, so I will catch up. I know, Robert, right? You got to go hang out with the girls. It's the place to be on a Saturday night. Okay, so I'm going to get back to this so that I'm not leaving you guys hanging for too long. Okay, so we talked about okay, so the last thing I said was, although even 30 million is a challenge for the American melting pot to assimilate and integrate. But we also have, according to a recent Yale and MIT study, about 20 million people who are here illegally. In regard to them, the classical ingredients of American citizenship, the right to leave or enter the country as one pleases, for example, or to vote in elections, or to reside here as long as one pleases, are being blurred. Sorry, my throat is messing with me. Where I live in California, if you're here illegally, you can de facto go back and forth across the border as you wish. In San Francisco, you can vote in some school board elections. The same is under consideration in some places in New England. As we see with the DACA program, illegal residents can de facto live in the U.S. indefinitely. Some policies even discriminate against citizens. An illegal resident in California who is charged with a crime is not subject to federal immigration law to the full extent, whereas a citizen who flies into Los Angeles from overseas without a passport will be detained. If you are in California as an illegal resident, you can obtain a driver's license as citizens have in the past. Whereas for citizens, starting next year, there will be an extra burden. To travel by commercial air, they will have to provide at least 3 sources of proof of citizenship to obtain a valid ID, given the apparent devaluation of the driver's license. And isn't that so true about so many things? It's that devaluation. You look at education, right? And what do? We lower the standards. We don't look at the process. We don't look at what we're doing in the education of our children, but we lower the standards. So it really is. It's look at money, right? The fiat currency. It's sorry. It's the devaluation of things. Almostoli, am I saying that right? Almostoli, hello. I know I've seen you around. I just don't know that I say your name that much. Put King, hello. Nice to see you. I saw someone else come in as well. I think GTO Mama. 20 million is half the population of Canada. Isn't that crazy, GTO Mama? Yeah, and they are not at all. I mean, right now he's talking about 45 to 50 million, right? 30 of which may be here legally, and the 20 of which are here illegally. So that's just an amazing amount of people, especially like what they were saying, to to assimilate, to integrate into our society. Okay. People who come to the US illegally and in great numbers usually do not have the degree of investment citizens do in our constitutional documents and are often unacquainted with our national story. So important, right? And of course, this goes to the nationalism. Candidates from south of the border fly into California's Central Valley to campaign. Isn't that crazy? Candidates from south of the border fly into California's Central Valley to campaign. Illegal residents vote in their home country's elections and yet are unacquainted with political issues and candidates here in the US. So very much, like a foot in both worlds. I want the best of what America has to offer, of what the US has to offer, yet I am not fully invested here. And that's, people who go through the citizenship process and have to learn about our history, about our Constitution, a lot of times they make great citizens, and sometimes, they're more educated than we are, because the Constitution, the history of our country isn't being taught like it used to be. Okay, so I'm not going to say it's not being taught at all, just not being taught like it once was. To avoid a fragmentation of society based on racial and ethnic chauvinism takes an extra effort to keep the melting pot working. We're no longer making that effort. Indeed, we're doing the opposite by encouraging diversity rather than unity. That's what we were talking about just a little bit ago. This encouraging, the diversity, encouraging individualism, encouraging the fact that I am, in my case, I'm a woman. So I need to be looked at special, and I need to have, I need to be celebrated because I'm a woman. Really? I mean, God gave me that too. Okay. I actually didn't put much effort into being a woman. It just happened. Okay. God did that. Um, you know, I can take pride in where our forefathers have, have brought, or, started us. I can take pride in what I put into this country. Um, I don't know that I can take pride specifically in something that I didn't do, which, you know, is what made me a woman, right? Like I was saying earlier with being white, I can't take pride in something that I didn't do. Okay, thank you, God. I appreciate, whatever you have given me, because you saw fit to give me that, to bless me in that way. Um, but you know what? Someone with Down syndrome, God gave them that too. God allowed that. And that person, um, that person is just as blessed and special as everybody else here. So it's not just about color or gender or whatever. There is, okay, I'm getting way off topic, but God loves every one of us, no matter the fill in the blank. So, okay, sorry. Let me see here. Somebody is applauding. Oh, history be having an ice storm. Okay, so those can be scary because they can be loud and breaking stuff, but they're also so beautiful. You need to make sure you get pictures. I mean, it may not be fun to go out in, but those pictures where you have the uh, like the tree branches or the bush branches with the ice hanging off it. Love those pictures. They're so beautiful. God is so amazing. Um, oh man, I was way back on chat. Sorry. Has anyone here driven in Mexico? It's a free for all once you hit the asphalt. I really don't want these people getting handed driver's licenses in this country. Well, the thing is, um, if someone's going to drive like that, we don't want anybody who's going to drive like that to be given licenses. If they can, right, integrate, conform to what we're, to our traffic laws and the way we drive, then yeah, absolutely. I've seen those shows where, they have like ice truckers in India or whatever. That's scary stuff. I would not want to do that. Yes, borders are good for both sides of the border. Absolutely. Legal immigrants are upset, right? GTO, is that what you're saying? Um, yeah, that's the thing, is legal immigrants who have spent the time, the effort, um, been on the wait list and whatever else, they value more. Um, they value our country. They value our rule of law. They value the process, and they don't a lot of times want to. They don't want to support illegal immigration either. Yes, History Beat does have a nice channel. Oh yeah, okay. So actually, let me mention that because History Beat not just has. Okay, let's rewind that. Ignore that I said that. History Beat not only does a show with DM Damod, and usually they have another um, guest on, but she has her own channel, and she does videos that a lot of times have to do with history, shockingly enough. But that's good too. So her individual channel as well. Um, da, 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 da. Invade my personal space. They are out to meet their maker. Successful, morally sound Mexican citizens with beneficial skills don't sneak into our country. Well, see, that's the thing, right? It really, I mean, a lot of people try to sweep under the rug the idea of of being illegal, right? Of that being a law that was broken by entering our country illegally. But it's got to start there, doesn't it? The valuing law and order, the appreciation for the rules. It has to start somewhere, and if it's not going to start at that place where you're entering a country, then why would you value other laws, or does it give a free for all of picking and choosing which laws are valuable? I always tell my kids, that they might disagree with me, but they don't get to choose when to listen to me and when not to. I'm sorry, but that's not how that works. Okay. You don't get to choose that what I'm saying is important or not. You get to do it. You get to obey. Okay. I'll catch up more on, oh yeah. Okay. My two screens are way off. So, but I'm seeing some good comments. Your channel is cool too, almost solely. Love that old architecture. So again, yes, please, 15 people in the chat, definitely can go and click on their little icon and go visit their channel. You can still, it doesn't mean you leave this channel. You can still hear the show and stuff. But go click on them while you're at it and check out their content and subscribe. I mean, I subscribe to people even if I'm not interested in their content, because I believe that they have a right to be on here and to do whatever they're doing. And YouTube is an amazing place. It serves so many different interests and stuff. Oh, Sam, hey, nice to see you. Color, gender, financial status are being used as weapons for division by Democrats. Absolutely, GTO, Mama. And I am careful now, because I am a believer in the deep state. I mean, I think it's kind of it's more openly recognized now than like 10 years ago or whatever. So yes, I believe the Democrats are doing that. I also believe globalists are doing that. I believe deep state, no matter which political party they align themselves with, I think that they are also doing that as well. Oh, my visual is out of focus. Is it any better? Maybe it got well, here, let me just try to see if it's the camera. Ooh, oh, that help at all? Okay. Yeah. Ice storms. Again, and History B is saying, no, too cold for my bones to go out there. I quickly go out and shovel, then come right back in. Yeah, no, I am not a cold weather fan either. So I do understand that. But beautiful, beautiful pictures to be had. I knew a guy who did the Asian mail order bride thing, shelled out tons of money to process the immigration. She divorced him 2 years later. Sad. That is sad. Jesus told some they were children of their father, the devil, so everyone is an overestimate. Jesus told some they were children of their father, the devil, so everyone is an overestimate. Maybe I don't understand what you mean by everyone is an overestimate, Philip. I'm sorry. The person I knew stayed married to him for almost 3 years, and I didn't stay married, but she didn't deserve him anyway. Oh, is that another mail order bride situation? Why don't German immigrants wear lederhosen, Dutch clogs, because they respect the country they chose to immigrate here? And that is absolutely right. They chose to immigrate. That's the thing. If you're choosing this, if you want this, if you value this enough to leave your home, I mean, we're not talking about moving a couple hundred miles away. I mean, I guess in Mexico, but you're choosing to leave so much, a lot of times family, um, everything you've grown up with, geographically what you know. If you're choosing to leave that and you're choosing for something else, right? Then why not have that pride? Why not be invested? Why not want to assimilate? Okay, I'm really far behind on both things. Legal immigrants voted for Trump. A lot did. I want to see and Tony Patriot, DMB report, and Pete the Patriot, Mel Monty show. That would be an awesome podcast. Okay, so all those people that he mentioned, that Great Informer mentioned, awesome. And then later on, I saw on one of my screens that he mentioned Sam as well. Or GTO did. Anyway, yeah, Sam is awesome. And she's been in our chat before. She does these great short videos where she brings lots of just current event kind of articles that happen, and just brings your attention to different things that are happening. I love that ice tracker series. Amazing to think how they drive on the ice with those huge rigs. Yeah, no. This is all about destroying our culture by design. Absolutely. And that's the thing, is there is a design here. There is intentionality. There is planning that goes into this. So we have to be very careful that if we have to be very careful to not, or to make sure we're recognizing that. Because, Red Pill Marine, hello, nice to see you. Because if you don't understand that it is intentional, that this is a plan in place, if you don't understand that, then you cannot you will be ill-equipped to fight against it. Brian Griffin, hello, nice to see you. Oh, sorry. It's sad, but sometimes I think white liberals have a conversation with me because I'm half Cuban. Well, I mean, I know a lot of people, a lot of people of varying colors and cultures and whatever else feel that way, that the elitist kind of patting them on the head, let us take care of you because you are ill-equipped to do so. Very patronizing. Okay, let me get back to this because I've left you guys hanging on this for a long time. I'm sorry. I told you I wouldn't be able to get through it without kind of adding in my own 2 cents, and I don't like to leave the chat alone for too long either. So I love you guys and the contribution that you guys make to the show. Okay, second. Okay, so we finally got to the second reason, right? So he's giving us 3 reasons that or 3 ways that American citizenship is eroding, right? So we got through the first one. So second, we're becoming a country of tribes. The idea of multiracialism, the notion that we're of different races, but we share a common culture, is eroding. At many colleges and universities today, you can choose in advance the racial background of your roommate. Campuses have safe spaces that are reserved for people of particular races. There are dorms where students segregate according to race. Ethnic studies departments thrive by emphasizing racial exceptionalism. Do we wonder why Elizabeth Warren chose to be a Native American, which, according to her own logic, the power of white privilege and systemic racism, would put her at a disadvantage? The answer is that she sought a careerist advantage, and Harvard was happy to comply. The law school bragged that she was its first woman of color faculty member. Okay, isn't this crazy, right? All right, History B, thank you, love you, see you tonight. Isn't that crazy how much we fought for, equality of rights, how much we fought to not have our population segregated, to not, to not keep blacks separate from whites, or different, different schools, or different, um, uh, places on the bus, or whatever. We fought through this. We got beyond that. So why are we choosing now to go back to that? It's the craziest thing. People who, thank you, Philip. People who, okay, let me say how, let's see how I say this. If you're a black person in America today, why would you ever want to go back to that place? I do not believe that racism is the problem that it is said to be today. But I can recognize that we have a history that we got beyond, that we got through in some cases, that was not healthy, that was not respectful of all. So why would you, on one hand, complain and say that you are owed something because of that history, and then yet choose to own and to accept and to take on some of those same aspects from that history? It doesn't make any sense to me. So, okay. I went to a grammar school that was about 90% Mexican American. Some people who I went to first grade with later changed their names from Juan to John and dropped the accent on their last names. Now, in their 60s, they're changing back to Juan and adding back the accents. Why? Because there is now a disadvantage in identifying as an unhyphenated American. So what they're saying is there's a disadvantage if you're not using a hyphen, right? I'm a Mexican American. I'm a Cuban American. I am a African American, whatever it might be, right? So that's what he's saying here. And an advantage to belonging to a tribe. And the danger is that this logic of tribalism leads to the kind of social breakup and civil discord that we saw in Rwanda, the former Yugoslavia, and Iraq. Third, Okay, so we made it to the third point. Third, the middle class, which had been encouraged and celebrated since the time of the American founding, is now under sustained attack. Love you, Great Informer. Thank you. A solid property-owning middle class anchors the nation. Traditionally, its members show the sobriety and judgment to achieve autonomy. They don't look to government for help. They stand as a barrier against both property redistribution and crony capitalism. Okay, so I think that this is a great paragraph to actually reread. Hang on just a second. Something's bugging me here. Hold on. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry. Bit of a mess. But I had to shut that door, and I got a drink of water while I was at it. So, and then I dropped my straw, and just a mess. So anyway, this is a good paragraph to, I think, reread because one, it's written a way where there's a lot of information in a short amount of time, and it's good information. So let's read it again. A solid property-owning middle class anchors the nation. Traditionally, its members show the sobriety and judgment to achieve autonomy. They don't look to government for help. They stand as a barrier against both property redistribution and crony capitalism. So he's not saying, right? I mean, he's not saying that capitalism is bad in itself, right? But he's specifying crony capitalism, right? Today, America's middle class is threatened. Home ownership is down to 62%, about 62% from 71% just over 10 years ago. The percentage of a family budget that goes to housing has risen from 20 to 30% in the 1950s to 30 to 40% today, especially in coastal corridors. Middle class wages, until an annual increase of 3% under President Trump, had been frozen for 10 years. And we have an aggregate $1.6 trillion in student debt. That's crazy. So you not only have people who are GTO, headache. Okay, I hope you feel better soon. I hope that nap helps. So not only, you hear a lot. We talk a lot about the debt as a nation that we're saddling our kids with, right? That we're saddling the next generation with, or whatever. But if you look at that, it's not just the national debt that we're saddling our kids with, but an aggregate of $1.6 trillion in student debt. So they are also being saddled with personal debt as well. It's just, what can you crawl out of? How deep of a hole can we crawl out of? Okay, so I'm going to take a quick break on this and go back and check chat. I don't know if my face ever got unblurry. I'll give money to YouTube before I'll give money to Twitter and Facebook. YouTube may censor us, but at least they allow us to have a platform to speak on. I love the cold weather. Well, okay. That's good. I mean, we need people who love the cold weather, right? um, oh, I did mention God loves everyone, and I do. I mean, um, God does love. He might be disappointed. He might um, not appreciate some of our choices, um, but he's like a parent who desires relationship with us and desires us to come home. China is behind the globalists in every Western country. Okay, I mean, I don't actually know about. I know that he's not Great Informer isn't here anymore, but I'm not aware of that. Um, I just know that 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 ideal is everywhere. Um, oh, Amastali, and I hope I'm saying your name right. Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming. Um, Northernmost Midnight Sun has a great channel too. Yes, she does. She's up in Alaska. Um, You're all just fish in a bowl on my desk. That's funny. Um, I haven't. I mean, I have a personal PayPal. I haven't set up a PayPal, um, for this or anything. Um, yeah, Sam, I did not get to see. I saw as I was prepping for this, I saw that Sam was dropping some reports. So History Bee said she had some great videos today. So make sure we check those out. If I moved to Saudi Arabia, I know I would be forced to assimilate. So I don't go there. Simple as that. Right. And I mean, I lived in Germany for 3 years as a child. And as much as I was blessed by the fact that a lot of Germans know English, the reality is I can't expect that from them. I can't expect them to change everything around me to make me feel better, to make it easier for me. I I'm I'm going into their world. I'm going into their culture and life and whatever else. There had to be a reason why they immigrated here. Why bring their former country's problems here? Right? I mean, six string, and it seems like such simple logic, right? And same thing. I mean, we could even take that down to what's happening in our own country. Everybody talks about Californians moving out of California, and sorry, I was being choked again. Um, moving out of California and wanting to, um, move to Texas or wherever else, but they're taking their policies with them. No, why are you choosing to move from the mess that California is and then taking those same policies into the places that you thought were better places to live? It doesn't make sense. Okay, Red Pill, I'm glad. I hope you are still here. It's great having you here. Okay, I'm not sure about the stuffed bunny Brian Griffin, but I am way behind. So I'm sure. Um, they've been trying to destroy America since before we were a sovereign nation. Um, Philip Turner is gone now, but that's an interesting point and not something that I am educated on. So, if anybody knows anything about that, point me in that direction because I would love to educate myself on that. Great Informer says, I've been trying to help promote a group-owned and independent media page on Parler. They have some awesome conservative news and great content. Yeah, so Parler is kind of the conservative version of Twitter, from my understanding. I'm on I'm on Parlor, but that's my understanding. Awesome, Red Pill. Cool. Um, hanging stuff up, like clothes or pictures on the wall or like people. Sorry, I'm just messing around. Elizabeth Warren probably got free education for being a fake native, right? Robert Nozawa said, I am a proud patriot, but I wish America created a legal treaty with the Kingdom of Hawaii rather than illegally overthrowing the Hawaiian government. There's no treaty of annexation. Yeah, so Robert Nozawa has shared some videos, a couple of videos regarding this this issue and this idea of Hawaii not actually being a legal state. If I'm stating that correctly, Robert, you can correct me if I'm wrong. And I don't know, Robert Nozawa, do you have those on your video? Do you have those on your channel? Because I know that I've gotten them, through other ways, and so I'm not sure if those are on your channel. Hiawatha Warren would claim to be 25% paper stapler just to claim she organizes bills. Oh my word. Okay, that's true. And that's funny. Brian Griffin, that's interesting. I think we took over Hawaii for a base in that area. It's a long swim from here to the enemy without Hawaii to stop at. Okay, I saw that one. Man, I'm sorry, I'm so far behind. So Robert's saying, that's my point, Brian. It was America overthrowing a sovereign country illegally. Oh, Sam, okay. I missed her going. So love you, Sam. If we are a country of laws, we should at least correct this type of injustice to have peace with the locals here. And that's the thing, right? And how much have we heard lately, that we're a country of laws, yet, man, we just keep bending and breaking, and it depends on your agenda, whether the law matters or not. So, yeah, if we are a nation of laws, then we should be a nation of laws. Thank you, Amastali. I think I already said goodbye, but still. Oh, it is on your channel, Robert. Okay. See, this is what happens when I'm catching up late. Flight of the Kingdom of Hawaii. Redneck Worm Farm. I'm just catching up. Hello, if you're still here. Hello. Thank you for coming. So if Hawaii is not a legal state of the union, then Obama was not supposed to be president. That's funny, because that was his get out of jail free card, right? And yet still, how to make a video intro. I don't on YouTube. I have a different program that I use on my laptop to do some stuff with, but I know that YouTube has an option for making it a video intro. I've just never used it. Decorating your living room. Cool. That sounds fun. All right. If the middle class continues to erode, we will become a nation of peasants and oligarchs. In California, more than 1 out of 5 people live below the poverty line. despite the fact that California has one of the highest number of zip codes of America's most affluent people and the highest number of billionaires. If you drive through Palo Alto, you'll see people living in RVs because they can't afford to buy or rent a home. And these are people working for Google, Facebook, Yahoo, Oracle, and Apple, with a total market capitalization of nearly $4 trillion. Additionally, we are seeing a formal assault on the Constitution by our elites. Consider the nullification of federal law through the creation of sanctuary cities in direct defiance of the immigration statutes. Okay, now this point, I love this point that he makes because I've never actually thought of this, and it's awesome. He says, of course, such nullification seems to go only one way. Otherwise, imagine how. Okay, I'm sorry, I've got a yawn. I'm so sorry. Okay. Imagine how our elites would respond if the people of Provo, Utah, decided within their municipal jurisdiction to nullify the federal handgun registration or the Endangered Species Act. Why had I not thought of this before? Absolutely. This defiance of federal law when it comes to these sanctuary cities and illegal immigrants. Can you imagine if a state or a municipality, excuse me, were to say, you know what, we're a sanctuary. I mean, sanctuary cities in Virginia are doing the Second Amendment thing, but to go beyond that and say the federal government says that we need to have background checks for firearm ownership. We're going to be a sanctuary state or sanctuary city for that. We're not going to do that. Could you imagine the outrage on the left or like this said, what was the other one he used? The Endangered Species Act. I think or think of any of the environmental laws and regulations. Throw those out the window. They would have a fit. That would be actually really, I'm sorry, I should not be happy about this. I'm just saying, it would be a little comical to watch. Sorry, that'd be awesome. Okay, almost every single Democratic candidate for president is in favor of abolishing the Electoral College, which is in the Constitution to ensure equal representation to people living outside big cities and to prevent the splintering of the electorate into several small parties. That's another big topic, right? Get rid of the Electoral College. And there's reason that it is in our Constitution. There's also a growing academic attack on the mode of electing the U.S. Senate, which I was actually not aware of this. Why should North Dakota and Wyoming have the same number of U.S. senators as New York? Progressives ask, in their eagerness to make U.S. senators proportionally elected in the manner of House members. This insidious assault on the Constitution results from the fact that popular elections have been going the left's way, haven't been going the left's way. And the left believes that its superior moral agenda justifies using any means necessary. And that's what I was talking about as far as the agenda, right? And that's why it's been for so long, right? The ends justify the means. The agenda is more important. So when, President Clinton was assaulting women, when Governor Clinton was assaulting women, when he had this history, what happened? Well, the women's rights movement did not stand up and say, how dare you, President Clinton. No, they went after the women because It was the agenda, right? So the ends justify the means. Sacrifice those individual women so that we can keep having this guy who is supporting the agenda of women's rights, right? At the time. Ancient authors from Plato and Aristotle to Petronius and Tacitus have suggested that affluence combined with leisure paradoxically creates a laxity that leads to the kind of societal and institutional disintegration we are currently seeing. Okay, now what? Ancient authors from Plato and Aristotle to Petronius and Tacitus have suggested that affluence combined with leisure paradoxically creates a laxity that leads to the kind of societal and institutional disintegration we are currently seeing. Okay, so what I think he's saying, and y'all pipe in, is that affluence, I don't think he's saying that affluence is a bad thing, right? But affluence combined with leisure. So if you are living a life of affluence, and you work hard for that, I think, I think from what he's saying, that's not who he's talking about, all right? I think he's talking about, affluence that you don't have to work for, right? Affluence with leisure, combined with leisure. So that creates a laxity and leads to the kind of societal and institutional disintegration. So the breakdown of society that we're seeing now, the institutional breakdown of what we're currently seeing. Does that make sense? Is that, do you guys agree with how I'm interpreting that? Okay, so let me go back here and catch up with you guys. Defiance, a sad situation in California. Oh, definitely a sad situation in California. 90 out of 95 countries have become sanctuary counties for Second Amendment folks. Governor Blackface Northam went to the Virginia National Guard commander about taking guns. Absolutely. And that's actually something I do want to touch on later. I mean, I think a lot of people are, a lot of channels are addressing that in depth. So I don't think I need to, but definitely something to touch on as far as what's going on in this next week. In fact, I'm going to write that down because I wanted to talk about that too. What's happening next week? All right. So he's constipated or having the runnies. Thanks for the information. Is Northam trying to force martial law? That is the question, right? I mean, I think he's trying. I think he and his cronies, I won't even just say that it's him, right? I think that they are trying to, but they're getting pushback from those who would actually, I mean, both National Guard and the police officers there. The thank you, Brian. I'm glad. Blackface was told by the commander to fly a kite. He's so ignorant. He thought he could just pick up the phone and have the UN do it. Oh. See, red pill. That's the other thing. The stinking UN. We so need to get rid of the UN. We need to get out of the UN. We need the UN out of the US. We need to have a full separation. We need to say goodbye. I don't know if I can say it any differently. Northam was told if that happened, the police departments and National Guard would meet them at the state lines. That's beautiful. It's beautiful that we have not just individuals, but in this case, organizations, the National Guard, the police force, who are unwilling to completely step on the Constitution and the people's rights. Okay, so yeah, he's absolutely trying. Thank you, Red Pill. Another major ingredient of our current crisis is the failure of our education system to offer disinterested instruction, following from the post-1960s takeover by the left of our colleges and universities. So what does that mean, disinterested instruction, right? So it doesn't mean that, professors don't care, right? It doesn't mean that they're there just for the check, whatever, right? It means that we have a failure of offering disinterested instruction. It's kind of like the news, just the facts. Just give us the facts. Allow us to form our thinking about those things, right? It's always amazing when you hear, we are an institution of free thinking. We are an institution of, we encourage our students to think for themselves, or yada, yada, yada. In reality, what it breaks down to is, as long as you think the way that we think, right? So no, if you're a professor at a college, if you run a department at a college, why do we have these, certain classes, but even within the classes, right? Pushing agendas. Just give us the facts. I had a friend who was going for her nursing degree, and I may have said this on another stream, but she was going for her nursing degree and had to take some prerequisites. This was about 10 years ago, before she could get into the nursing program. And English, English 101 kind of thing was one of those. She said the first book that they read, she said it was nothing short of gay porn. She was like, there are things in there I didn't want to read about, male and female. And I think that's both. I think that's both pushing, and again, this was 10, 12, 13 years ago. So again, it's pushing the, yes, the homosexual at that point, the homosexual agenda, but even beyond that, it's pushing a general sexualization of our culture too. So it was a twofer, in my opinion. Okay. So we need to be at a place where education is education. It's not indoctrination, right? Education is education. It's not social engineering. In response, we need to support. So this is his final point, right? In response, we need to support colleges that continue to teach the principles and practices of liberty. We must support policies that recognize the distinction between citizens and non-citizens, and that bolster the middle class. And we need to defend the Constitution, our last great hope to ensure American continuity and security. I think that's beautiful. And, the thing is, we've been talking about this, right? Globalism doesn't want to ensure our American continuity and security. They want to erode that. Globalists and the idea of globalism wants to erode that. So you can see where if someone is trying to erode that, they're going to go after the Constitution. And we can see that very clearly in our society today. It's all about the disposal of family, father, mother, siblings, six string said. Well, that's the thing, right? that is part of that cultural breakdown, part of that reliance on government, part of the, I mean, it's really the breakdown of the family leads to so many of the things that they're trying to that they're trying to achieve. If you look at eugenics, if you look at the idea of population control, or better yet, population reduction, you know, again, a move towards socialism, Marxism, communism, ultimately, a breakdown of the family, all a breakdown of the family lends itself to all of those things, right? Oh, hello, Eldon. Nice to see you here. It's a biblical agenda to turn brother against brother and family against each other. Okay. Well, I mean, it's stated in the Bible, right? That's not only what will happen, but what has happened in other societies. I can read the Bible forwards and backwards. If I stand on my head and read the book upside down, I see Satan's agenda. Well, I think God tells us what Satan's agenda is, right? And he warns us against it, and he tries to help us understand how deceptive, deceitful Satan is, and his ability to fool us, or his desire to, at least. Okay, so any other thoughts on that article, or the speech, I guess I should say? Again, Hillsdale College in Primus, you can sign up. They'll send it to you for free each month, and they have very thoughtful, generally a lot of them, again, are speeches, and the speakers are generally really well known. So it's a good place to get some information. Okay. Excuse me. All right, so one of the things I said was just kind of touching on next week. Six string. Yes. Oh, is that how that is? I know, I get caught up on some stupid stuff. I can appreciate that about myself, but still, that's funny. Okay, so next week, some big things happening next week. Monday, right? So Monday is the Second of the Virginia thing, right? Virginia. So that's the Second Amendment. I want to call it a march. That is not what it's called. Anyway, the gathering. Okay, the Second Amendment gathering, where a lot of people are traveling to Virginia. A lot of Virginians are traveling to their capital to express their discontent, to express their rally. Thank you, Brian. So simple, right? But to express their concerns, to express their disagreement with where the Virginia government is headed right now. And Northam, yes, Northam has been out front. The governor has been out front, and he's said a lot of things, and he needs to we need to pay attention to what he's saying, yes. However, he's not the only one. He is being supported. He's being backed up by people in the legislature. And that's concerning. right? So there's only so much a governor can do without the support of his or her legislature. Um, excuse me, but to hear it's not just like him being crazy and off his rocker and he's the only one, but that there are others um, who are um, supporting the same ideas, and really they're trying to strip away the Second Amendment rights from their citizens. And there are a lot of things being said about this. And again, there are a lot of um, channels out there that are covering it to a much better degree. Sorry, to a much better degree and depth than I am, and who are following it even more closely than I am, because really there are a lot of uh, I would say almost daily updates or changes that are happening, and from where uh, Redneck, are you saying you need to go from here to the stream, or you need to go to Virginia? Um, but oh, Iron Crane, hello to the rally. Yeah, so that's the thing is um, I don't know how I feel about it. In the sense that I believe that we need to stand up and we need to fight against these kinds of moves against the Constitution. Um, and I believe that when you see this kind of action in one area, in one state, or whatever, that that you can that if it is allowed to go, then there's the risk, and a very good risk, that Virginia would be the first of many to fall. And so it's not just about going, well, Virginia, too bad for you guys. You guys should stop that business over there. It's more of, okay, if it happens in Virginia, what state is next? Where does this travel to next? And that's the concern. I mean, Virginia is a concern as well, but the bigger concern is that this is the first domino to fall, right? The other side of that, the reason why I have mixed feelings about it is because there are so many negative possibilities that could come out of this. It could turn violent. Um, it could be used to collect information on people. It could be, what a lot of people are concerned about now is an infiltration. When I was saying it could turn violent, you not only have people who, right, we have a rally, and what do we find? That people feel like, oh, they need to come and they need to protest our rally. you know, um, liberals, leftists, I should say, can get out there and have all sorts of rallies or protests or whatever. And you don't see a lot of conservatives out there and like, throwing milkshakes on them, or, carrying around bats or whatever, right? They might, a lot of times, they might have a peaceful presence, but for the most part, if Bernie Sanders wants to have a rally, or if, Elizabeth Warren wants to have a rally, you don't have a bunch of people showing up and going, oh no, we're against Bernie, right? It is what it is. We're not trying to stop free speech. We're not trying to stop that that information. But so there's not only the possibility, the strong possibility that leftists will come out to rally or protest or whatever against the Second Amendment rally, but there's a big concern now about Antifa specifically integrating themselves and dressing up and playing the part of patriots and of rally goers, and then misbehaving. So if you come across with, okay, Brian, I was actually referring to the Antifa milkshakes where, I mean, they were saying milkshakes and some were saying, oh, they have some cement in the milkshakes or whatever. But point is, yeah, go with a straw. Only if it's chocolate, though. Any other kind of milkshake. But anyway, so it's a current concern that is happening Monday. So be praying if you pray. Be praying, be mindful, be paying attention to what's going on. You also have apparently Pelosi. Sorry, I actually just had this momentary thought of maybe I've been drinking like Pelosi, but that's not kind of me to say. So, Pelosi finally was able to manage getting the impeachment, excuse me, the articles of impeachment over to the Senate. So now next week we have the hearings in the Senate happening, which, if you live in any of those places that have the rhinos in them, rhinos representing you in the Senate, those who are on the fence and, not really supporting Trump here, make sure you make an effort, call, write, email or whatever, and put the pressure on for them to do what they should constitutionally and do what they should that is right, to do what they ought. That's happening now. A lot of people feel like the impeachment is just a distraction from other things, and it very well may be. I don't know, but sorry, I'm shaking everything right now. Okay, I don't live in California, and I guess we've had earthquakes here too, but I'm sorry, I'm totally lost my train of thought. Anyway, so maybe the impeachment hearings are a distraction from other things. There's so much going on right now that I don't think we can afford to take our eyes off of anything. I don't think we can afford to be distracted by any one thing. I think we have to pay attention across the board. So many things get ignored. The agreement with China the other day, I got a little bit of airplay, I think, but not much, right? Because it's all about Pelosi and managers and articles of impeachment and whatever else. So anyway, there's that. Next week, a lot of things going on. So just keep your eyes open and be paying attention. It's really funny. I'm looking at Six String and Redneck. So anyway, we are at almost 2 hours. So I can shut this down, or we can always talk about Trump's speech as well. That's another option. So you guys let me know what you want to do, because I know it's getting on the long side. I'm just looking at something here. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. It was an awesome speech. Thank you, Iron Crane, and drive safe. Drive safe. Yes, we are in great company here. I agree. Okay, I was just making sure. Hold on just a second. I have to deal with a work issue really quickly. I just have to let somebody know. Okay. Oops. All right. Okay. You guys aren't saying anything about it. So tell you what, I will play the speech. If you guys want to leave, you are more than welcome. I mean, obviously, you're more than welcome anyway to leave anytime you want to. But go with love and blessings. But if you want to stick around and listen to Trump's speech regarding the Iran attack, because I just thought it was masterful and masterfully done. Let me see which one I want to go to. Someone was asking the other day why they go live and then just wait for forever. So on this one, they went live and it was 56 minutes or so into it before they actually went live. Okay, so let me share my screen. All right, so first of all, this was awesome. You have all the power coming out onto the stage before President Trump enters. Okay, so can y'all hear okay? I mean, there's just clicks of flashes right now. So I guess there's not a whole lot to hear right now. All right, come on, President Trump. Oh, there. Okay, here we go. It's just a phenomenal entrance. Even the entrance is.
As long as I'm president of the United States, Iran will never be allowed to have a nuclear weapon.
Okay, boom, right? First line. He doesn't say hello. He doesn't welcome anybody. First line out. As long as I'm president, boom, here's the hammer. So strong, right? And he comes out that way. But then, right? So let's watch what he does with that.
Good morning. I'm pleased to inform you the American people should be extremely grateful and happy. No Americans were harmed in last night's attack by the Iranian regime.
Okay. So then what does he do? He came out strong and now he greets them. Good morning, right? That's a very intentional choice to do it in that order and beautifully crafted. Okay, so then he gives the good news, right? So I'm going to give you the bottom line. Hey, they can't have nuclear weapons. Oh, by the way, hello, you know. And then he says, "Hey, great news. We're okay." right? So there's been some misreporting going on and all that, but we're, let me give you the bottom line of our status. We're okay.
We suffered no casualties. All of our soldiers are safe. And
Amen.
only minimal damage was sustained at our military bases. Our great American forces are prepared, and Iran appears to be standing down, which is a good thing for all parties concerned and a very good thing for the world. No American or Iraqi lives were lost because of the precautions taken, the dispersal of forces, and an early warning system that worked very well.
Okay, so not only is he celebrating American lives, right? But he's also saying, hey, good news too, the Iraqis, who in this, situation, we're allied with them. We're sharing their bases or whatever, right? So, so he's recognizing that as well. And then he talks about, he starts to go into why things worked so well.
I salute the incredible skill and courage of America's men and women in uniform. Far too long, all the way back to 1979 to be exact. Nations have tolerated Iran's destructive, stabilizing behavior in the Middle East and beyond. Those days are over. Iran has been the leading sponsor of terrorism, and the pursuit of nuclear weapons threatens the civilized world. We will never let that happen.
Again, wrap back around. Make sure you heard me. First thing I said, we cannot have this, right? Iran cannot have nuclear weapons. So again, it's this ebb and flow, right? He comes out strong, and then he's like, hey, he's still sober, right? But here's the celebration, right? Of yay, our troops, our troops are okay. The Iraqi people are okay. This was considered a success because of these reasons, like early warning and all that kind of stuff, right? But then, boom, let's bring back the hammer, and he goes strong again.
Last week, we took decisive action to stop a ruthless terrorist from threatening American lives. At my direction, the United States military eliminated the world's top terrorist, Qasem Soleimani. As the head of the Quds Force, Soleimani was personally responsible for some of the absolutely worst atrocities.
Okay, so pause again. What did he do there? He said, at my, was it discussion, at my call? I can't remember what he said, but it was my instruction. He is full on taking the weight onto his shoulders, the weight of that decision. He is taking responsibility for that. You look at all of these, for lack of a better term, powerful men, all of these military agencies represented and standing there with him on this stage. He has all of the advisors in the world, right? But what did he do? He doesn't say, well, the advisors thought it would be best. He said, I did this. I made this decision. I am taking this on my shoulders. Not everybody, okay, that's rare. That's rare. Okay.
Trained terrorist armies, including Hezbollah, launching terrorist strikes against civilian targets. He fueled bloody civil wars all across the region. He viciously wounded and murdered thousands of U.S. troops, including the planting of roadside bombs that maim and dismember their victims. Soleimani directed the recent attacks on U.S. personnel in Iraq that badly wounded 4 service members and killed 1 American. He orchestrated the violent assault on the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. In recent days, he was planning new attacks on American targets, but we stopped him.
And boom, ring the hammer again, right? So not only, okay, so I made this decision. Here's why I made it, okay? This guy was a bad dude who had, who was responsible for killing a lot of our people, right? And other people. We're not just talking about, U.S. citizens and troops. And then he brings it forward to not only has he been a threat to us, but he was a continuing threat to us, and he was an imminent threat in this, in this situation.
Soleimani's hands were drenched in both American and Iranian blood. He should have been terminated long ago. By removing Soleimani, you have sent a powerful message to terrorists. If you value your own life, you will not threaten the lives of our people. As we continue to evaluate options and respond,
Okay, sorry. It okay. I will go back just a minute so that we don't miss that. This happened with the music too. It does this thing and it goes kind of crazy, and then it automatically mutes me. So let me go back just a minute so that we don't miss.
thousands of U.S. troops, including the planting of roadside bombs that maim and dismember their victims. Soleimani directed the recent attacks on U.S. personnel in Iraq that badly wounded 4 service members and killed 1 American. He orchestrated the violent assault on the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. In recent days, he was planning new attacks on American targets, but we stopped him. Soleimani's hands were drenched in both American and Iranian blood. He should have been terminated long ago. By removing Soleimani, we have sent a powerful message to terrorists. If you value your own life, you will not threaten the lives of our people. As we continue to evaluate options in response to Iranian aggression, the United States immediately imposed additional punishing economic sanctions on the Iranian regime. These powerful.
Okay. So again, he's saying, oh, sorry, President Trump, I didn't mean to stop you there. So what is he saying? He's saying, this is not acceptable. And not only is it not acceptable in words, it's not acceptable in action. We are going to take action. So obviously, taking out Soleimani was action, right? So he did that. But then he follows it up with additional action in regard to sanctions on Iran. Excuse me. And really, he said, and he said it very quickly, but he was like, while we're considering other things, right? We're going to immediately bring in these additional sanctions. Oh gosh, yeah, good stuff.
Until Iran changes its behavior. In recent months alone, Iran has seen shifts in international waters, fired an unprovoked strike on Saudi Arabia, and shot down 2 U.S. drones. Iran's hostility substantially increased after the foolish Iran nuclear deal was signed in 2013, and they were given $150 billion, not to mention $1.8 billion in cash. Instead of saying thank you to the United States, they chanted death to America.
Okay, so important this moment here, because we see a lot of times where Trump is flippant, where maybe he's being a little bit disrespectful or whatever to people. Sometimes where he's kind of going with tweets, right? But I see this a little bit different. He's not saying like an "I told you so." He's not saying "and I told you so." He's not trying to just jab at Obama. He's not trying to just jab at the previous administration. He's trying to really use this opportunity to show bad policies lead to bad things. And he's trying to make that connection in this most important moment where we've just had this major happening where everybody's concerned about, is this going to be is this going to be a another world war? Is this going to be, are we going to be in war with Iran? There's so much talking going on, right? And so he's using this opportunity where a lot of people are paying attention and saying, what's going to happen, right? What did happen last night, right? Because this was the morning after, right? What happened? He's using this opportunity. Hey, Pete the Patriot, nice to see you. He's using this opportunity to make connections and say, bad policies lead to bad things. We need to be careful about our policies. And the previous administration's policies sucked, basically. But he's not doing it in a poking. He's doing it in an educational way. He's doing it in in the best of circumstances, in trying to convince people, trying to help them understand, trying to get them to see why the policies that we have, and some of those policies that he's replacing and getting rid of, why it's so important that we go a different direction. Okay, I'll start again.
In fact, they chanted death to America the day the agreement was signed. Then Iran went on a terrorist spree, funded by the money from the deal, and created hell in Yemen, Syria, Lebanon, Afghanistan, and Iraq. The missiles fired last night at us and our allies were paid for with the funds made available by the last administration. The regime also greatly tightened the reins on their own country, even recently killing 1,500 people at the many protests that are taking place all throughout
Okay, I caught it this time. I caught the glitch that took away my mic, or the audio. Okay, so what I love about this too is this idea. Well, first of all, again, he's pointing out we gave them all this money. Guess what? Where the money went? The money went to harm people. The money went to hurt us. They took our money and they spit in our faces by saying "Death to America." Um, why is this effective? Why is this good? It's not. And then I love this. You know, we talked about America first earlier, right? You can't help others until you help yourself, right? But what does he do here? And he's gonna head into more of this. He not only points out that this that these policies of ours not only supported um, violence and terrorism and things like that against us, but that we're also supporting um, bad things that are happening in their country as well. So to the Iranian people, right, the citizenry of Iran. Um, so yes, he's America first, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't desire the good for other people as well, right? America first doesn't mean you have to hate others. Doesn't mean you have to stomp on others. That's not what this means, and that's not what he is doing. Um, he has concern for them, and he is gonna in this last bit too. He's gonna head into this, talking about um, and talking to and about the Iranian people. So, I mean, yeah.
Effective JCPOA expires shortly anyway. It gives Iran a clear and quick path to nuclear break. Iran must abandon its nuclear ambitions and end its support for terrorism. The time has come for the United Kingdom, Germany, France, Russia, and China to recognize this reality. They must now break away from the remnants of the Iranian JCPOA. We must all work together toward making a deal with Iran that makes the world a safer and more peaceful place. We must also make a deal that allows Iran to thrive and prosper and take advantage of its enormous untapped potential.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. This is that part where I was talking about where he is trying to, he comes out really heavy duty strong. As long as I'm president, no way is Iran going to have nuclear weapons. Can't happen, right? A little bit of a celebration, a little bit of good news about, our people, the Iraqi people being safe. Okay, great. Hits it again hard with Iran cannot have this, and then he admonishes them a little bit for he talks about Soleimani and then the support that the Iranian government and regime have kind of given to that kind of behavior, that terroristic behavior, and then beautifully, masterfully, he has brought the speech to a place of now trying to link arms with the Iranian people. And look, I guess, here's the thing. I was saying, I didn't know if I wanted to do this because it's kind of old news at this point. But honestly, I think this is kind of great because we've had an opportunity to get to see the results. So his actions of taking out Soleimani, which he took responsibility for, I love that. Strong man saying, this was me. I took I made this decision. I took these actions. I'll take the responsibility. Such a quality that's missing in our world today. Okay, sorry. But he takes this, right? And he says, okay, here's this, these actions, all that. And we've gotten to see now, where are we at now? We've got more people speaking up in Iran, more protests. We've got people refusing to walk on the flags of the U.S. and Israel. We've got people coming out and getting information out to the world about the regime as it is now. We've got people who, they are saying that. I mean, okay, usually I'm not so emotional. They're saying how much they love this not only the president but our country. They're saying, his tweet that he sent out in Farsi, right? That's right. Um, was the most popular tweet in Farsi. I mean, he's speaking to the Iranian people. He's saying, let's link arms. Let's make you guys successful too, just without nuclear weapons, without the terrorism, without, safety, allowing safety in the world. But prosperity for your country as well, for your people as well. Masterful. This, if you cannot see how masterful this speech is, it's crazy. It's crazy. Sorry, it's just.
Stability not prevent the Middle East as long as Iran continues to foment violence, unrest, hatred, and war. The civilized world will send a clear and unified message.
Okay, is the audio better now? I just saw that you guys were saying it was kind of choppy. Did it start better again when I restarted it? Okay. I've shut down everything there is to shut down, so I'm not sure. Can you hear me okay? It's just his audio? Is that what's happening? Yeah, it's low. Okay. Okay, well, I don't know how to fix that. Maybe hopefully it was some sort of weird thing and that's in the past or has passed at this point. I'll try it again. If not, so this is. We need an Asian? I'm not actually sure what that means. Iron crane. Okay, let's try this again and see. Hopefully, it'll come in more clearly.
Campaign of terror, murder, mayhem will not be tolerated any longer. It will.
Okay, I know I keep stopping this. Again, strong, strong, strong. Now I'm talking to the leadership of Iran, and this will not be tolerated any longer. Okay, and then you see the how he kind of went tolerated kind of thing. Okay. I mess up my speech all the time. I fumble over my words. I end up laughing at myself because, it's such a hot mess, right? But, I look at this moment and when I heard this, I was just thinking about, man, he runs 100 miles a minute. He's up. He works and he's up so many hours in the day. He gets very little sleep. And the amount of stress and pressure and all that in walking through this couple of days leading up to this speech, a tremendous amount of exhaustion had to have been here, and yet so that little bit of taller-eyed kind of thing, um, yeah, the dude was exhausted, but that just, I think, highlights the fact of how masterful and how strong he was here, um, to be able to um, be under the pressure, under the stress, under the exhaustion that he was, and to deliver this. So, okay, hopefully it's again, hopefully it's cleared up.
allowed to go forward. Today, I am going to ask NATO to become much more involved in the Middle East process. Over the last 3 years, under my leadership, our economy is stronger than ever before, and America has achieved energy independence. This historic accomplishment shapes our strategic priorities. These are accomplishments that nobody thought were possible. And options in the Middle East became available. We are now the #1 producer of oil and natural gas anywhere in the world. We are independent. We do not need Middle East oil. The American military has been rebuilt under my administration at a cost of $2.5 trillion. Armed forces are stronger than ever before. Our missiles are big, powerful, accurate, lethal, and fast. Under construction are many hypersonic missiles. The fact that we have this great military equipment, however, does not mean we have to use it. We do not want to use it.
Okay, again, perfectly done. He takes this opportunity as well to, again, talking about policies, right? So energy and economic policies. He has, over the last 3 years, brought us to a place where dependence on foreign oil is not a question in the decisions that we make regarding anything in the Middle East, right? In this case, Iran, right? He's taken that factor out, whereas before it had the tendency to play a large part in decisions, and that shouldn't play a large part in our decisions about how we approach the Middle East, right, and our relations with countries in the Middle East. So he's bringing it, he's again kind of infusing that in there. All of these different policies, even energy policies, right? They all have an impact. They all bring us as a nation to a place of strength. There's something else. I can't remember what he was saying. Sorry, I got lost. Oh, yeah, that was what it was. Okay, so sorry. That's the other thing, right? His approach to building our military back up, right? To putting all this money into making our military strong again, and he's making that point of, yes, we are strong, and he has said many times we are strong militarily, we are strong again, right? But he's saying we don't want to use it. That strength is there for the purpose of peace. So many people want to call him a warmonger. So many people want to say that he's, remember when Hillary Clinton was like, oh, can you imagine if he had his hand on the red button? Can you imagine a man with his temperament being in, having that kind of power? This man has shown, this man with his temperament, with his mouthiness on Twitter, with his boldness and his verbal strikes, this man has shown more regard for human life, more restraint in his decisions and actions when it comes to the serious stuff, I always tell my kids. So the kind of mom I am is I get all excited and hyper over stupid stuff. Okay. Um, I don't know. You were horsing around and you knocked over a glass of milk and made a big mess, right? I might lose my head a little bit on that. I'm like, what are you doing? Right? Just stupid stuff. When really serious stuff happens, I'm calm, I'm quiet, very deliberate and thoughtful, and that's funny. I understand. Um, you know, and so I'm very logical thinking when it's something that's serious, and I mean, that's kind of what kind of how he's shown himself, right? He'll pop off and say something, right? But when it's something that's important, when it's I mean something like this, a situation like this, a situation like when Iran shot down the drone, our drone, um, and he said, I had to weigh human life, not our human life, Iranian human life. I had to weigh human life over the cost, the money, the financial cost, right? Mm, good stuff. Okay, sorry.
3 months ago, after destroying 100% of ISIS, its territorial caliphate, we killed the savage leader of ISIS, al-Baghdadi, who was responsible for so much death, including the mass beheading of Muslims, and all who stood in his way. He was a monster. Al-Baghdadi was trying again to rebuild the ISIS caliphate and failed. Tens of thousands of ISIS fighters have been killed or captured during my administration. ISIS is a natural enemy of Iran. The destruction of ISIS is good for Iran. We should work together on this and other shared priorities. Finally, to the people and leaders of Iran, we want you to have a future, a great future, one that you deserve, one of prosperity at home and harmony with the nations of the world. The United States is ready to embrace peace with all who seek it. I want to thank you and God bless you. Thank you.
Mhm. Good stuff. All right. Oh, what can I say? I mean, I just don't think that was anything shy of masterful and beautiful. It's impressive. Okay. Let me catch up on chat now. The only thing I don't like about Donald Trump is when he wears his golf clothes. Um, just stick to the Armani suit and the red tie. He is not a warmonger, but Iran needs to be overthrown. One day they will get a nuke and they won't be shy to use it. Yeah, and the thing is, when he's talking about, excuse me, I want peace for Iran, for the Iranian people, and offering peace to all who want it, right? Iran, at least the leadership of Iran, may not want it. We're hearing a lot of reports from Iranian citizens or past Iranian citizens who say that they do want it. And so we can only do so much, right? There's got to be an internal change. The people of Iran have to be able to because you know, it's war for them. It's a civil war for them. They have to be able to rise up against the regime that they're under right now. So, yeah, nothing is going to say. I mean, nothing says that this is the end of it, or that because Trump has handled it so well, or has handled it with restraint or whatever. Nothing says that the Iranians won't, still go to town and make bad choices, do bad things, right? So anyway, I think I will end it there. That was. Oh, wait, actually, one thing. Red Pill Marine put a link in chat. Okay, he said, please listen to this video, but more importantly, read the documents following this video. Read the scenarios to the room. Oops, okay. Hold on. Sorry. So, let me see if I can. I think he said this was regarding Virginia. Whoops. Sorry, I might have. Let's see if I can. Okay, hold on. Let me figure this out really quickly. Okay. Oops. Okay, let's see if we can get this audio. Oh,
shop on Amazon, you should use Wikibite. It's a browser extension that automatically.
Okay, this is about 3.5 minutes. It's not too long. Let me.
I came across an extremely well-written analysis of the upcoming rally in Richmond, Virginia. The author, Matt Bracken, is a retired U.S. naval officer and former SEAL. After I read it, I went to bed. But Bracken's warning kept me tossing and turning for most of the night. The following is the portion of Bracken's analysis responsible for my sleepless night. FBI press release. On March 8, 2019, FBI Director Christopher Wray named David Archie as special agent in charge of the Richmond, Virginia field office. Mr. Archie most recently served as a Deputy Assistant Director in the Counterintelligence Division at FBI headquarters and was assigned as the FBI Senior Lead at Special Counsel Robert Mueller's office. Mr. Archie returned to the Baltimore field office in 2010 as the Supervisory Special Agent for Counterintelligence. In 2012, he received the Office of the Director of National Intelligence Award for Excellence in Counterintelligence Operations. In April 2013, Mr. Archie led the Baltimore Field Office Counterintelligence and Cyber Divisions as Assistant Special Agent in charge. He was promoted to Section Chief at FBI headquarters in September 2014, where he oversaw the global section in the Counterintelligence Division. Mr. Archie was then named Deputy Assistant Director of the WMD Directorate in October 2016. The top federal law enforcement officer in Richmond, Virginia, is an anti-Trump FBI counterintelligence expert, just like Peter. When Peter Strzok was removed from Robert Mueller's team, Archie took his place. Robert Mueller handpicked Archie to supervise all FBI personnel working for him as part of the coup effort. What do you think the chances are that anti-Trump FBI counterintelligence expert David Archie will be favorably disposed toward thousands of patriots heading toward Virginia's capital, where he lives and works, to teach Governor Northam and the liberal ruling class a hard lesson about their Second Amendment rights? Take a look at this downtown Richmond, Virginia satellite image. Note all of the government facilities ringing the Capitol, including the nearby federal building, which is home to the local FBI and the ATF. I've provided a link in the production notes below this video to the full analysis of the 4 possible scenarios that are about to play out on January 20th. None of them are good. I strongly suggest you take the time to read it and share it. TV app viewers, visit headlineswithavoice.com. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. For Headlines with a Voice, this is Nancy Morgan Hart.
I'm in Amsterdam, which is without a.
So it says, late last night I came across an extremely well-written analysis of the upcoming rally in Richmond, Virginia. Okay, let me switch this. Yeah, I will. Let's look and see what this document says. All right, former SEAL, stay away from January 20th Richmond rally. This was written on the 9th of January. Okay, late last night I came across an extremely well-written analysis of the upcoming rally in Richmond, Virginia. The author, Matt Bracken, is a retired officer and former SEAL. After I read it, I went to bed. Bracken's warning kept me tossing and turning for most of the night. The following is the portion of Bracken's analysis responsible for my sleepless night. Okay, so there is, so I'll read what she has here. He, I'm not actually sure, but I think she. But anyway, this full analysis, there's a link to the full analysis. But let's see what, Bobby Gordon says. So are you warning the good people of the great state of Virginia, home of Thomas Jefferson, author of the Declaration of Independence, who said that every man should keep his gun with him at all times like a constant companion, and also that we should fight a revolution every 20 years? Or are you warning the heavily outnumbered authorities who cannot count on even the mostly pro-Second Amendment National Guard to rescue them from their self-created unconstitutional fiasco? No. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I just read the comments. Heavens. Have grace with me. I guess I do need to go to the full analysis. I apologize. Okay, red pill. I'm catching up. Okay, here we go. This was posted by Matt. Okay, all right. The mother of all buffalo jumps. Interesting. Okay, be the Indian, not the buffalo. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Charlottesville 8/12/2017 and Richmond 1/20/2020. Richmond, the mother of all buffalo jumps. The more I ponder the mass demonstration being promoted by the Virginia Citizens Defense League for the annual lobby day at the Richmond Capitol, the more it looks like a disaster in the making. I wish it were otherwise. but I see many times more downside risk than possible upside benefit. If we have a troll, y'all can take care of. Yeah. Even if Virginia Senate Bill 16 is passed, banning nearly all semi-automatic firearms, the new law will be challenged in court, and given the potential dire outcomes, the case will rapidly ascend to the SCOTUS. This process will take years, and Governor Ralph Northam and the Democrat majority in the legislature may be voted out in the meantime, and the law overturned. So why, before all that happens, go charging into Richmond in just a few weeks? Will rabidly anti-gun urban Democrats be convinced to change their minds because a mass rally by their despised, deplorable enemies? Because of not a chance. Instead, it will only harden their resolve. Now let's look at the downside risks, which I have divided into overlapping scenarios from best to worst case. Scenario 1, best case. Even if nobody is seriously injured on January 20th, some percentage of the Second Amendment crowd or anti-gun trolls posing as such in order to discredit them will show up wearing camouflage while waving long guns, Confederate battle flags, and, as in Charlottesville, even some Nazi swastika flags. No matter what the VCDL intends, this fringe element will become the national media image of the entire event. And trust me, these morons and bad actors will show up in Richmond. Believe it or not, there's actually a lunatic element that considers Charlottesville to have been a victory for the far right, because now everybody knows we're here to fight. The same could be said about Pickett's charge and Custer's last stand. Moral victories. Yeah, right. These attention-seeking media whores and social collapse accelerationists will never miss an opportunity to strut and preen for a national television audience. They will be in Richmond first, up front with their banners, and the mainstream media cameras will give them the national spotlight and FaceTime that they crave like needle junkies crave dope. Remember Charlottesville and the many Confederate battle flags and a few Nazi flags. Remember their torchlight march through the university. The VCDL Lobby Day organizers can decry them and beg them not to come to Richmond, but come they will. The neo-Nazis and other accelerationists are locked in a twisted symbiotic relationship with the leftist media. Like it or not, the camo-clad yahoos waving Confederate stars and bars and even Nazi flags will become the national image of the Second Amendment movement. The yellow Gadsden "Don't Tread on Me" flag will forever be associated with the Confederate and Nazi flags. And this is the best case scenario. This is the official Wikipedia image for the Charlottesville fiasco. Learn, people, learn. Good point. Okay, scenario 2, the bus brawl. Buses from afar can only arrive in cities and peacefully discharge their many passengers with the helpful cooperation of local LE. Picture one or more buses full of rural pro-Second Amendment supporters, mostly boomers, and many packing their legal CCW pistols, being attacked after law enforcement officers deliberately direct them down Antifa Alley. Watch this Andy No video from Portland to see buses swarmed by Antifas. That's interesting. I only remember, the video with Andy getting attacked. I didn't see the stuff that he had taken. Folks arriving in dozens of buses will be extremely vulnerable in tight city quarters. Back to my Richmond scenario 2. On exiting the bus or buses, a rumble predictably results, with law enforcement suddenly nowhere to be seen. Antifa clubs are answered by Glocks, SIGs, and 1911s. Then a LE sniper, law enforcement sniper on a rooftop, sees a drawn pistol and kills the Second Amendment supporter with a rifle shot to the head. In panic and confusion, a dozen more pistols are drawn. and all hell breaks loose, leading to scenario number 3, Waco Twin Peaks redux, right? Is that redux or is the X silent? Sorry. For the past several months since announcing their proposed gun bans, Governor Northam and prominent Virginia Democrats have been receiving threats of bodily harm. Up to and including being hanged from lampposts as traitors. Be aware that the governor's mansion, Northam's house, is also located on Capitol Square. Take it as a settled fact that there will be Virginia State Police and federal law enforcement agency, FBI and ATF snipers on every rooftop, parapet, surrounding and overlooking the square. Please study the 2 satellite images of downtown Richmond around Capitol Square to have better idea of the terrain that pro-Second Amendment demonstrators will encounter. Understand that the Richmond and Virginia State Police will have tight control of every downtown block, and they will simply not tolerate a mass demonstration of gun-toting rednecks and yahoos, as seen from their liberal anti-gun urban perspective. Okay, so I didn't quite catch why they were redo. Is that what it is? 6 string? I'm so sorry. I apologize for my ignorance on that. Okay, so when we watched the video, I wasn't really getting it, the fact that the government buildings. So that's they're saying that that's where snipers and stuff could be, right? Okay, let me. Law enforcement will lock down the city and make mass arrests before permitting that to happen. And local law enforcement will control the parking, especially for the many expected buses, and they will control the vehicle and pedestrian routes along or into and around Capitol Square. Anybody who thinks that they are just going to be able to drive into downtown Richmond, park with no hassles, and then afoot swarm and overwhelm the Capitol grounds with angry pro-Second Amendment demonstrators is a fool. Law enforcement will be fully expecting trouble on a Charlottesville or worse level, and there will be a downtown Richmond law enforcement presence on a presidential visit level. Okay. On the other hand, anti-gun Virginia politicians and law enforcement brass, often aspiring politicos, will not pass up the golden opportunity delivered like a gift on a silver platter to trash and ruin the statewide and national image of the Second Amendment movement. If Charlottesville is a guide, Second Amendment supporters and Antifas will deliberately be herded together to instigate telegenic brawls, or worse, in order to discredit the constitutional gun rights movement. Okay. I am having what? Okay, what do you okay, so 6 string, you're gonna have to school me a little bit still. Iron Crane, what are you talking about the material here? I know I've said that word before. I have no idea why I'm having such a blank on that, but that's okay. I'm not perfect. Okay, but I will work on that. Oh, okay. Along with Charlottesville, now I'd like to introduce another example with potential points of comparison to Lobby Day. Please recall the biker club meetup in Waco, Texas at the Twin Peaks restaurant in May 2015. Even though the bikers were there for peaceful purposes, Waco law enforcement, anticipating the potential for violence, was covering the event with undercover SWAT officers. Who fired first and why is debatable, but 9 bikers were killed, at least 4 of them by police, .223 caliber rifle ammunition, and more than 20 were critically wounded. No biker was ever tied to a shooting by forensic evidence, and some believe that more or even all of the casualties were results of shots fired by law enforcement rifles, with bullets passing through their victims. The high percentage of biker casualties resulting from headshots also cause some to believe those shots were fired by law enforcement rifles equipped with magnified optical sights. Over 175 bikers were arrested that day, and they all faced identical felony charges, engaging in organized criminal activity resulting in murder and aggravated assault. They were all held on $1 million bail, and dozens were jailed for months and financially bankrupted. Even though not one conviction was ever obtained, and eventually all charges were dropped, no police were ever charged. Please read a few articles about the Twin Peaks disaster to consider the potential for violent mayhem when law enforcement snipers and undercover officers are set up in place to cover a large outdoor event they feel has the potential for violence. And that's the case, you know, with any of this. When you have, I mean, you have this boiling pot, this opportunity for things to go wrong, right? Because what happens when one shot is fired? What happens, right? So that, I was saying earlier, you know, that is a concern. Then ask yourself if you think law enforcement snipers will be set up around the Richmond Capitol Square when they fully expect thousands of angry redneck gun nuts to arrive, possibly armed. Richmond, yeah, I did. Okay. Richmond Lobby Day has Twin Peaks potential on steroids. It won't matter who pulls the first gun or why, or who fires first. As in Waco, all hell can break loose in seconds. Multiple fatalities can result, as well as hundreds being arrested. And the entire bloody fiasco will be blamed on the dangerous gun nuts who came to Richmond to make trouble. Next, read the following for some more context and an idea about what kind of reception to expect in Richmond. Okay, so let me see. All right, where are we? Okay, FBI Director Christopher Wray has named David W. Archie as Special Agent in charge of Richmond Field Office. Mr. Archie most recently served, I think that, actually, that's what they read on the video that we watched, so I'll skip that. Yeah, that is all of that is the video stuff. General Custer, sir, that is a little bighorn down there, and you are outnumbered and outgunned. Nah, it's just another Indian village like the rest. Charge! And let's not forget what James A. Fielding is currently serving a sentence of life plus 419 years for vehicular homicide following what happened in Charlottesville when his car was surrounded by angry Antifas. But I'm sure nothing like that could happen in Richmond, because our cause is just and our hearts are pure. Really? That's the VCDL plan? As the Marines like to say, hope is not a plan. Scenario 4, the false flag operation. Hey, Duke Roll. The worst fear for Lobby Day is the opportunity for a mass casualty false flag operation conducted by an Antifa-type individual or group, with or without any connections to a series of government cutouts. This FFO could arrive in the form of a single person like the GOP baseball practice attacker James Hodgkinson, or a small group providing transportation and other support to the shooter. Have you heard of Redneck Revolt or the John Brown Gun Club? Firing from behind and above a Second Amendment crowd and across a street into an anti-gun crowd is the worst case scenario. And that's exactly why it would have great appeal to a dedicated anarcho-communist. Within the same day, the media would be connecting the massacre to President Trump. And in a week, many Americans would believe that he was indirectly responsible for the carnage. Anarcho-communists believe that their noble revolutionary ends justify any means. So killing members of their own side can be justified as necessary collateral damage. if the result is an effective FFO that will be blamed on their hated right-wing white nationalist enemies. This potential outcome will be so tempting that a Richmond Lobby Day FFO cannot be ruled out. The false narrative discrediting the gun rights movement would be carved in stone before any investigation revealed the truth behind a false flag massacre, if ever. And by no means will potential violence be confined to Capitol Square, which will have an extremely heavy law enforcement presence. With the Capitol grounds under firm law enforcement control, the pedestrian routes to and from downtown Richmond parking areas may also turn into bloody gauntlets, as happened in Charlottesville, Phoenix, Berkeley, Portland, and elsewhere. Additionally, open-sided multi-level parking garages are very effective urban sniper hides, and they must be fully occupied by law enforcement to prevent their misuse, as occurred in Dallas in 2016 when a radical black racist sniper murdered 5 police officers and wounded 9 others during a Black Lives Matter march. Hey, T. Hey, gas mask. Please understand that the January 20th Lobby Day is not owned by the VCDL or the pro-Second Amendment right. January 20th is also Martin Luther King Day, so there will not only be Antifas and gun grabbers present, but Black civil rights groups mixed into the spicy gumbo. And because it's a federal holiday, state schools and most government offices will be closed for Martin Luther King Day. So there will be plenty of potential third-party opposition on hand. So, knowing all of the above, now ask yourself, do you think that Governor Northam is stupid? Perhaps he is, despite the fact that he made it through medical school and became a pediatric neurologist. He was certainly stupid to place his high school coonman blackface KKK picture in his medical school yearbook in 1984 at age 25. Oblivious to its readily foreseen future negative ramifications. And he was politically very stupid to say aloud on the radio that he supported post-birth choice in the matter of keeping unwanted babies alive. Gosh, he is just a sick, sick man. Oh my gosh. It's very likely that Virginia's new gun bans, if passed by the legislature, will be challenged in the courts and overturned. So there's no rush to charge into Richmond with a show of force on January 20th, when the potential for a counterproductive backfire is so great. When an enemy is making a mistake, as Northam and the Virginia Democrat gun grabbers currently are, let them make it unimpeded. Don't steal their fool's spotlight by making an even bigger mistake that will overshadow theirs. Remember Charlottesville and learn from what happened at Twin Peaks in Texas. Even if Northam is indeed personally stupid, I have no doubt that he is surrounded by very sharp, deep state operatives who see January 20th as a golden opportunity to permanently discredit the Second Amendment movement. Just as there are accelerationists on the conservative gun rights side, there are what I would term arsonists on the anti-gun side who will jump at the chance to turn Richmond Lobby Day into Charlottesville times 10. And these sinister actors may already be planning a disastrous outcome for our side. These big government arsonists are the yin to the right wing accelerationists yang. Both outlier groups desire to maximize chaos and violence for their own evil purposes. Excuse me. So Matt, do you have a better idea? Okay, we get it. Bracken thinks a mass Second Amendment rally in Richmond on Lobby Day is a bad idea. So what would you do, Matt? Roll over and surrender? Give up your guns without a fight? Hell no. I'd continue to marshal our forces for maximum effect at local, county, and city council meetings. The Second Amendment sanctuary county movement has been extremely effective at getting positive attention through this means. We should keep attending every local political meeting in force. Make your local politicos feel the heat. Keep pressing at the county and city level. Experiment with holding unorganized militia flash mob events. Be imaginative and always use friendly local terrain to your advantage. And I'd arrange other types of demonstrations, also on favorable friendly ground, using social media to distribute a strong message. For example, groups can hold and film what I would call William Tell events, where local shooters rendezvous and get on the firing line together for firepower demonstrations. The combined sound and fury of 50 or more semi-auto rifles banging away against steel targets at 100 yards would be very impressive, especially if different counties held similar demonstrations on the same day, all filmed and then combined for upload to the internet. The point is, if we want to demonstrate our strength, do it on friendly ground, using technology and social media to spread the message. For our side, downtown Richmond is the worst terrain possible for an angry showdown. Does anybody really think that there will be a positive political outcome when thousands of pro-gun folks take dozens of buses and hundreds of cars and trucks into downtown Richmond to try to change the minds of the very politicians who already hate their deplorable, stinking guts? That's just foolish, in my humble opinion. Some suggestions for those still planning to attend. 1, do not wear camo or bring long guns, not even in your vehicle. Expect to be pulled over by the VSP at highway off-ramps and on the way into downtown Richmond for mandatory safety checks, where you will be asked about any firearms in your car or truck. The police will then ask to inspect them and to see IDs from everybody with you. They will film you and record all firearm serial numbers and identification information. You will be hassled and harassed if you refuse to cooperate. These safety check officers will not be in a good mood to hear lectures on the Fourth Amendment. Depending on their orders and your decisions, you may never even make it to the Capitol Square. Expect to be directed by law enforcement toward distant or inconvenient parking places. Downtown Richmond will be under heavy police control, and their directions will not be suggestions. Anticipate that the walking route from your parking place to Capitol Square will take you through hostile opponents from Antifa or anti-gun groups. If you encounter Antifas taunting you or making threats of violence, and you wind up pulling out a pistol to protect yourself, expect to be arrested and held with very high bail. And remember what happened at Twin Peaks. Once your pistol is out, law enforcement snipers may have your head in their crosshairs. Once ignited, this is an escalation dynamic that is very hard to control. Final thoughts. I'm sure that it feels fantastic to be a buffalo in the middle of a stampeding herd of your kin. 1,000 tons of muscle, hooves, and horns on the move, all thundering along together in a mighty gallop, shaking the very earth. Yes, that must feel very powerful. 1,000 times more powerful than a few Indians waving blankets and setting small brush fires that you hardly notice from the middle of your galloping herd. Just make sure that you're not being stampeded toward a cliff by devious political operatives who are more clever and cold-hearted than you. Remember Charlottesville and what happened at Twin Peaks. Please think long and hard about stampeding into Richmond for what might turn out to be the mother of all buffalo jumps. Keep it smart and keep it local. Be the Indian, not the buffalo. Okay, and then there's another link to another article as well by Matt Bracken. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we can disagree with. Okay, let me rephrase that. I don't know that I can disagree with anything that he's said here. I heard on another channel at one point, someone saying that, in fact, I think it was, gosh, I'm gonna get it wrong. I don't know if it was Disabled Vet's perspective or if it was Deplorable Bobby. Maybe one of y'all will help me with that. But where he was talking about people suggesting or planning on bringing kids. I mean, I don't think it's a good idea to bring kids to Black Friday shopping. Okay. um, so um, so I don't think that so and this is kind of a powder keg situation that hopefully will not go down this way. But who wants to have your kids who wants to put your kids in possible danger like that? And I think it's a good point of how are we going to come out. Alex, okay, yeah, it was okay. How are we going to come out of this? How is the Second Amendment movement going to everything? They use every possible opportunity, right? If there's a school shooting, if there's any sort of a mass shooting or whatever, what do? They immediately start hitting on gun rights, on the Second Amendment. And so to think that they wouldn't use this as an opportunity to turn it to turn public opinion against the Second Amendment, is just silly, because that absolutely makes sure I looked at gas mask comment, absolutely makes sense that they could and they would use this opportunity. So yes, thank you, Red Pill Marine, for sharing that. And he did share the link, so anybody interested can go and get the link from what he posted. And again, there's more. There's another link within that I didn't hit on. Just 'cause I think eventually people get tired of me talking. My longer streams usually have a panel of people joining me, and so it's not all me and my opinions. But anyway, that was really good information. And like I said earlier, just be, if you pray, just be praying for the activities this next week, not just on Monday, but absolutely intensely on Monday, but also in the Senate as well this next week with the impeachment hearings. So, okay, well, I will try to not make my the span of time between this video and my next stream so long. Let's not get carried away, Iron Crane. I'm not sure what I'm not sure what you're responding to. I have some thoughts, but maybe you should clarify that. Oh, I will show you guys something that I think is funny, because it's sitting on my desk. Thanks. Thank you. Sorry. Okay, I get distracted by the most random things. Okay, so we have, if anybody is familiar with German beer steins, there are some out there, some German steins that you have to hold. You have to cover. They're kind of like mazes, but you have to cover a certain hole. And if you don't cover a certain hole, then when you drink from it, the liquid will come out of somewhere. Will drip out of it, right? So when I was in, I think I was in middle school, we did I took an art class, okay, and I made this for my dad. why I have it because he gave it back to me. But anyway, I made this cup. It's this pretty nice ugly green, whatever else. So, but it's got a nose on it, and it's got a hole that's big enough. I tried to make it big enough for my dad's finger, but now that I'm an adult woman, I realize that I still never made it big enough, for that. But anyway, you have to plug the hole because where is it? The hole goes all the way through. So if you don't plug the hole when you drink, um, then the liquid will leak out all over you. So you have to plug the hole. So there's just it's now my pen holder on my desk. But yes. So just a little fun thing. I don't know. All right. Hello, Robert Hazawa. I know. I just, if I just stay on forever, then people can just come and go. They go and have dinner. They can go and, sleep for 8 hours and they wake up and I'm just still here. um, goodness. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I will take one of hang on, I can't think and type at the same time. Okay, I'm going to take one of James Rohrback's suggestions on the video that I play us out on, and hopefully it comes through okay. Oh, Robert Nazawa just drank from the nose. Okay, I'm gross, but that's just really gross. Okay, sorry. All right, so I am going to bring up another severe video to close us out with. And I'm just going to say thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your commentary and your contributions to the content and the show, because nobody wants to just hear my opinions. So it's nice to have you guys to kind of chat with and chat back and forth with. So thank you. I really appreciate it. And I will go ahead and say I love you and goodbye. And I'll play us out with this song.
It's your boy Severe coming back at you again. I want to take a minute to thank all my fans, my friends, my supporters, my family. Realize this battle of good versus evil. They want to silence the truth. I'm not going to let them. You know why? Right through me. Thanks for checking out the track. I was signed to the record deal 7 years back. You walk through the torch, compared to the flag. I promise every word you hear me say. I was signed, y'all forget I really had a record deal. Tore the contract when their plan was revealed. Use my gift of God for the corpse and satanic. They saw I wasn't down this when they all had a panic attack. Cause they know I'm more than panoramic. In fact, for the action, they have a symptomatic in the industry. At the time, they said I couldn't go. I already signed the paper, so they thought that I was on. They thought they told me it was part of their design. I said, yeah, there's a better five line than what I signed. Case closed. They didn't want no problems after that, but now they got one because I'm executing my attack. This is red building. Coalition, I awaken your mind to make your own decision. Great misconceptions, I'm a poet and listen. I can do what you need because I know what you're missing. Bring truth when I rhyme with my vocal disposition. Fans all across the map, going global with addiction. The golden ambitions when I show an exhibition. I'm growing the position when I'm focusing my vision. Let's talk about the way that I'm planning this attack. You didn't see me in the front because I was standing from the back. You try to steal the art I love. I got a plan to bring it back. I got a following the Patriots and our fans rap actors. They love what I create. It's called red pill music. That's my own genre. your mind and not be damned if you lose to listen to the words I speak and form your own conclusion. What we live in is a fairy tale and an illusion. Listen to what the kids listen to is critical. They poison their minds with venom wrapped in the lyrical. Frank it, apply sense of antithesis, subliminal. Parents take heed to this knowledge and I'm giving you. You don't need to come and join the coalition. I awaken your mind to make your own decision. Break misconceptions, I'm a poet if you listen. What you need because I know what you listen. Bring truth when I rhyme with my focus disposition. Fans all across the map, going global with addiction. Look over in the business when I show an exhibition. I'm growing the commission when I'm focusing my vision. I'm like Morpheus, my purpose is to free your mind. Also Neo, I'm the one reconstructing the design. Breaking through the matrix is the only way to find true freedom from the shackles they used to define us. From my own destiny, so I stay on my grind even while they're testing me. Cause we're running out of time. And have no fear, never running out of rhymes. I can do this all day. It's my gift from the divine. So I teach it to bring dark light, let it shine on your violet right. Giving vision to the blind. I refuse to conform to the world I was designed. I'm a free thinker that allow my thoughts to intertwine. It's a paradox, watch it's a super paradigm. For my own side, thinking otherwise, it's at the nine. Trying to warn me not to take a step past the line, but I've never been the type to give a damn. This is Red Pill, you need to come and join the coalition. I awaken your mind to make your own decision. Break misconceptions, I'm a poet if you listen. I give you what you need because I know what you listen. Bring truth when I ride with my focus disposition. Fans all across the map, going global with addiction. Look over in the business when I show an exhibition. I'm growing the conviction when I'm focusing my vision.
All right, very cool. I'm answering you guys. Okay. All right. Again, love you. Goodbye. I will see you next time, or I'll see you in other streams, which I often do. All right. Bye-bye.